Guys, and welcome to my channel. I'm Kristen. Today I'm going to share some of my favorite gingerbread DIYs. Of course, you're going to need that crimson Waverly chalk paint, or I guess just any type of red, but this one is always my favorite to use during Christmas. I need 2 wood crates from Dollar Tree. We're going to need these door hangers, and I did just go ahead and cut them in half. You can use miter shears if you have them. If you just have a miter saw, go ahead and do that too. So obviously we need more than 2 crates. I don't know what I was thinking. And we didn't have to paint the insides because they're going to be covered anyways, but you're just going to take those 3 crates and glue them all together. And once those are glued together, you're going to go ahead and grab those pieces of that door hanger that you cut in half. You're going to need some hot glue for this as well. You're just going to need a ton of hot glue anyways when it comes to crafting. And then you're just going to glue those on the sides just so it kind of covers up that crate effect, because we just want to make a really fun, I'm going to say, like, Christmas cookie stand. I just think these like fun stands are always fun to make, and there's just so many different ways that you can make them. I'm also using some wooden dowels, and go ahead and paint those. And then these little wood, I can't even think of what they are. They came in a pack. They're like little wood panels. They came, I think, in a 6-pack from Dollar Tree as well. And I'm just going to paint that red also. Of course, I do need some gingerbreads. These came off Amazon, and if they still have them, I'll link them down below. I've had them for quite a few years now, and I just only use like 1 or 2 a year. And then I went ahead and used my Cricut for this as well. If you don't have a Cricut, you can use stickers or write it out however you choose. And this is just going to say Christmas Cookie Bake Shop. Like I said, I think these are just some of the most fun things to do. And then if you don't want to decorate with them, these are really fun to use with Barbies as well. So if you have little girls and they want something fun for their Barbies, this is a really, really fun idea to do for them. Now, every Christmas, I use a ton of puff paint, especially when it comes to the gingerbreads. So I just put some on the top, like in a line, and then I'm going to go ahead and tap the bottom of that sign just so it gives that fun little drip icing effect. I love using the faux sprinkles as well, and they were just like little clay pieces. I got these ones off of Amazon. They have a ton of different ones from Amazon, but they also have some at Hobby Lobby as well that I was able to find last year. There's a few steps to this as well. I grabbed this little it's not a cutting board, this little chalkboard from Dollar Tree, and I just used my Cricut once again to do fresh homemade cookies because I wanted something that was going to be able to go on the bottom of this little farm stand, little cookie stand. So I just cut the bottom off, and then I just glued it right to the center, and I think this makes it kind of fun. And then, of course, it still looks kind of plain, so we're going to add some little gingerbreads to this. And then, of course, I wanted to add that puffy paint once again. Like I said, you can never go wrong with puffy paint, and you really can't mess things up with it. And now to add the top piece, I grabbed my wooden dowels once they were dry and just glued them along the back side. You could probably do this a different way possibly, but since I kind of hid the crates, or the inside of the crates at least, I thought this was probably the easiest way to go ahead and do this. So glued the dowels, and then I just glued that Christmas Cookie Bake Shop sign right to the top. And this glue, the hot glue gun, always seems to work. I use Gorilla Glue sticks, hot glue sticks, and then I use the Gorilla Glue gun, and it is one of my favorites. I've had this one going on 4 years now, I think, and I absolutely love it. And then, of course, adding another gingerbread to this. And then I thought that it'd be fun to make some fake little cookies. These are just little wood pieces I got from Dollar Tree quite a while ago. I'm adding some puff paint to the tops of all of them, and then just adding some faux sprinkles, and I think these are the cutest. I think this whole thing turned out really cute. And of course, I had to sneak my daughter's American Girl props because I thought that they would look so cute on top of this. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Last time I was in Dollar Tree, all their galvanized items were 4 for $1, which is absolutely insane and crazy. And I don't know if they're going to get rid of them and never have them again. But if you find things like this, grab them because you can use them for Christmas or any sort of holiday. I'm going to go ahead and paint this. This is I think it's hazelnut brown by Waverly Chalk Paint. We're going to go ahead and grab that puff paint. Now the puff paint I used to buy at Dollar Tree, but I think it has gone up to $1.50 now, and it is so much cheaper at Walmart. I think it's $1.20 at Walmart, or you can buy the larger bottles for I think a quarter of the cost or something like that. Like they're still expensive because you get more, but you get the whole gist. So Walmart if you need some puff paint. Of course, I use my Cricut once again. Now, I don't use my Cricut a ton throughout the year unless I'm making like shirts for my kids or myself or like Christmas gifts, but I do really like using it when I have it out. So this was like the time I was having it out. So I thought that this was a little plain because I didn't add any sprinkles or anything like that. So I did just go ahead and use Mod Podge and yes, glitter. I know glitter is not the most fun thing to use, but it's still, I thought this was so cute with the glitter. Whenever I see these cutting boards or these cutting board signs from Dollar Tree, I always have to go ahead and grab them. Now the middle ended up popping right off. I'm going to put it back on there so it doesn't really matter what that part looks like, because even when I did paint over it, you could still see like where the paper did pull off or stay, or just it wasn't beautiful, but it's totally okay because it's going to be covered. Of course, I'm using my Crimson Chalk Paint by Waverly. And then for this, I want to say this is nutmeg brown and this is acrylic paint, and this is why I do not use acrylic paint because it just takes so many coats to cover anything, but it's what I had on hand, so I probably did like 4 or 5 coats of that, and then I'm going to just place it right back where it came using some hot glue. For this one, I'm also using Cricut, but this is not a Cricut video. I'm not using it for every single one. These were just some of the really fun ones that I did use the Cricut on. So if you do have one, here is some fun inspiration for you. Sometimes weeding the smaller items out from your Cricut, like once it's on your surface, is just so much easier to do. So that's what I did there. I added a bow and a cute little gingerbread. Those are from Hobby Lobby, and that is it for this one. Spoons come in a 3-pack, and these are from Dollar General. I'm just going to go ahead and paint 2 of them brown with that nutmeg brown color, and then of course I'm going to have to paint one that crimson color, because what is anything without red paint for Christmas time? Obviously, to make these fun, we're going to go ahead and add that puff paint. Now, Dollar Tree did have some really fun colors for Christmas. They had the green, they had red, they had white. I also did end up finding them on clearance a while ago at Walmart in a huge pack. So I think I will be fully stocked with puff paint for this season. But these are just some of my favorites. I may recreate some of these this year in a different way, because I do have a giant hutch and it is completely decorated in gingerbreads, but I need more. Like, I need to make more. I need to have more gingerbread. This is just my favorite thing to decorate with. I think it is so fun and colorful, and sometimes it just makes you happy to decorate with what you love. And then I'm just adding some sprinkles, some embellishments, the little gingerbread, the little candy cane, and those are from Hobby Lobby. Like I said, Hobby Lobby has some really awesome stuff, and it seems to always be on sale. So I think some of these sprinkles and stuff that I bought from there were under $1.50 or under $2. I haven't looked this year, but I can't wait until I'm actually in the swing of doing Christmas. I just love doing Christmas crafts. I think this is like the best holiday to do. always have a ton of random items laying around that I buy and then I don't use it for the season. And then I'm like, well, I can totally use it for something else. So obviously this fall rolling pin that is from Dollar Tree, I'm just going to go ahead and sand it a little bit, paint it white, and then paint the handles red because obviously we're not going to use orange for Christmas. And then once that's done, I went ahead and add these gingham bows to each side. These are from Amazon and I've had them for years on end. I don't think I will ever run out of these little gingham bows. These are some fun little stickers, or like little wooden stickers. These are my favorite gingerbreads to use for Christmas, and these are from Hobby Lobby. And that is it. It was such a fun, quick little craft to do. That little scoop that you see is also from Hobby Lobby. I'm obviously not doing a video on that, but it's all Hobby Lobby items, and it comes in like a 4 or 5 pack with those scoops, and they are so cute to add some puffy paint and some sprinkles to them. All right, this is just a Dollar Tree sign. I'm using a Couture silkscreen transfer, which I love. This one is a couple years old. I'm hoping that they bring more gingerbread stuff out on the Couture website. I haven't seen a ton, but they will really be... it'll be kind of sad if I don't find more. And I'm just using part of the transfer. I don't need to use the entire thing. I'm just using the gingerbread and the baking co, just the bottom part. And that's what I love about Couture is you don't have to use the entire transfer if you don't want to. You can totally make it your own and use whatever you choose. This is I think it's candy apple in like a sparkle chalk paint. Or chalk paste. I don't know if they have it on their site, but if they do, I'll link it down below. And then my favorite part about this is just the reveal by pulling off the transfer. It's my absolute favorite. Cutting board is also from Hobby Lobby, $2.99, and I think I always buy things 60% off, and this was during the fall, so you can still grab these. I don't know if they're still 60% off or whatnot, but these are some of my favorites to always grab because I think it's just a cheap, inexpensive craft to do, and there's so many fun things, and you can use them for every single season, or you can use them just for all-around decor. Using my Cricut once again, this one says Christmas calories don't count, and I don't make any of my vinyl decals. I just find them in the Cricut design space. I'll usually just type in like gingerbread cookies or whatever I'm looking for, and I just kind of scroll through and see what I can find. And then of course, it's still kind of plain. I know. We're going to go ahead and add a little gingham bow to this. Grabbing thrifted decor, and this was just one of them, and I think I sanded this down. They were already faux books. I found some fake books from Goodwill, I think. We do have a Goodwill as is store, so I can find things for really inexpensive, and sometimes they bring in some brand new TJ Maxx items, and they are so cheap at my store. So I went ahead and painted this one red, white, and brown because we're going to be making this like a little hot chocolate thing. So this isn't realistically gingerbread, but I don't know. It seems like hot chocolate, the puffy paint, the marshmallows, they all kind of fall into the gingerbread category, at least for me. So I'm using these faux marshmallows. These are from Hobby Lobby. I'm going to go ahead and use my Cricut for the wording, and then of course puff paint and some faux sprinkles for the tops of the marshmallows. I just went ahead and did hot chocolate, marshmallows, and whipped cream. And then I think my favorite part of this was just embellishing the tops of it. So I wanted to look like just a really fun thing. So of course we got to bring in the puff paint. I'm going to use the marshmallows that I added the puff paint and the sprinkles to. We're going to add those to the top. And then I love using anything that I can find as far as like ornaments. Like there's always so many fun ornaments to use, and you just really never know what to do with them as far as crafting. And sometimes I just like to add them to signs and make them look fun. And then I also like to add them, like this was like a new thing this year, just adding them to the tops of things like this with some hot glue. I think this turned out adorable. Also, because I did have 2 of these, we're going to go ahead and make another one. And like I said, these are my favorite things to decorate with. So we're going to paint this one brown, and I'm using that nutmeg brown color. And I just think it works for the gingerbread theme. So I'm going to be putting it over the top and the sides as well. I think it just kind of, I don't know. And obviously you can see the back side, and I did kind of start this one, but then I was like, I need it to be gingerbread theme. So this one is just going to say gingerbread cookie recipe, and then I am just going to embellish my heart out with it. Do as you please. I just think that the more you add, the more fun it is. Sometimes with my like regular decor, I want it to be very basic, but around Christmas, you need to go all out. This came from a yard sale, and I just really liked the way this cutting board was, so I didn't want to do a whole lot to it. I just kind of wanted to add some embellishments to it. I picked up some items from Dollar Tree and Walmart, and I'm just kind of adding things on here, just kind of whatever I had on hand as well, and just kind of figure it out. And I just love how simple this is, but it's still really cute. There's no way I wasn't going to add some faux drinks into this video. These are some of my favorites. I did some the year before too. Something was going on with the caulk. I like to use caulk to make the faux whipped cream, and it just kind of kept melting last year. I don't know if it was temperature, if it was the problem with it. I don't have a clue, but I was not getting it to work as best as I normally wanted it to. And then just to make these, I just cut out a piece of a cardboard, and then I ended up just adding a foam ball, cut it in half. So you only need to buy 1 foam ball, and you can make 2 of these projects. And you do need like almost a whole thing, if not a little bit more of caulk. I just grabbed mine from Dollar Tree because even though it's $1.50, it's still the most inexpensive. I just cut a little gingerbread in half, cut his legs off, and then added it to the top of this. And then I just used some puff paint for this. And then just to finish this off, I decided just to add a little gingerbread using my Cricut to the front of the cup. This is the easiest one. I just grabbed a bowl and a plate from Dollar Tree, and I just went ahead and used some hot glue and some E6000 to just make a tray. This is nothing special. I've seen many people do this. I think even more people do this now. I feel like that this was a craft that I made when I first started YouTube, which was 8 years ago. So when I make things like these, it just brings back like all the simple things we used to create back in the day. And then now you see this like all over TikTok and Facebook, and it's just like one of those like old school crafts, but it's so fun still. This one, I'm just using the back of one of the houses. I'm not sure the color of this. You may or may not see it. It was just one of those farmhouse, when they brought out all the farmhouse decor from Dollar Tree. Flipped it over. We're going to go ahead and paint the back, obviously, with the red crimson color. And then I just wanted to do like a little fun decal. So I did add some gingerbreads to this using my Cricut. And then, of course, we're going to add some puff paint because you're not going to get a gingerbread craft from me if it doesn't have puff paint, at least the majority of the time. And then, of course, add the sprinkles. Now, I feel like looking back on this one, it looks kind of odd because gingerbreads should be like a brown cookie color. And I decided to add white to this. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think, like if they should have been brown or something like that. Also, I grabbed these little gingerbread houses. These are also from Hobby Lobby. Up, I'm using these ornaments. These were from Dollar General, and I usually grab them after the holiday season because you can pick these up for 25 cents. I painted one brown and one red, and then we're just going to make these super fun little gingerbread jars. Now, I did notice that Dollar General has a lot of their ornaments for $2, which I am so sad about, honestly, because I always think that I can pick them up for $1 a piece, and now that they're $2, I just don't know. I'll be carefully buying them this year. But I think I do have a ton of ornaments in my craft stash, so I don't even know if I'll actually have to buy any of that kind of stuff brand new. Of course, some more puff paint. We got some sprinkles. I really try to, whatever I buy for the season, I really try to use it. So when I'm using these sprinkles, you're going to see them multiple times. You're going to see different ones because I just want to use them as much as I can because it's always kind of fun picking up some new items the following year as well. Of course, for these, I'm going to go ahead and use my Cricut to add the decals to the middle. For the next one, we're going to be using that nutmeg brown acrylic paint. I have the largest jar. I'm not sure why I bought that, but I did. I grabbed some foam balls from Dollar Tree, and we're going to go ahead and paint them. Now, this was such a tedious job. I did not realize how long it would take to paint foam balls, but I managed and I got through it and I did it. So I was pretty impressed just because it took so long. And then puff paint, I did use a little foam block just to hold these up, and I just used some skewer sticks to attach the foam balls to. And all you do is kind of tap everything down and you're good to go. So I did these for quite a few of them, I think 6 total. And then I'm just going to be adding some sprinkles to the top just to make them look like fake cake pops. I think these are adorable. Okay, now for this one, we're using that galvanized piece or pieces. I don't even know why I started off saying it like that. Using this galvanized mason jar from Dollar Tree. I'm going to go ahead and just take out the little screws so I can paint it. It's just so much easier and you don't get it on the bottom. Of course, the crimson chalk paint. And yeah, these crafts are kind of looking similar, but I promise you, when you put them all together, it just looks like a fun little bakery. And I think that's like my intentions, is making my giant hutch like a fun bakery style type thing. So I think I might work on some crafts like that this year. I'm not sure. I don't have a plan, no plan for Christmas yet. But I do know that I want to create more fun things like this. So let me know in the comments below if you guys actually like things like this or if it's just me. Now, once everything was added, the puff paint, the sprinkles, all the things, I'm going to be using this little Christmas gingerbread ornament for the center of this mason jar. And then for the other one, I'm just going to go ahead and make it a fun little hot chocolate one. And this is obviously just something that I grabbed off Cricut's Design Space and add that to the center as well. Like I said, that one might not be full out gingerbread, but I think it kind of all goes with the theme. But you guys, that is it for the video. Thank you guys for sticking around. If you did this long, leave a little candy cane. Is there a candy cane emoji? If not, leave some sort of Christmas emoji in the description box below, or not the description box, where you guys leave them, in the comments. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. And if you are new to my channel, I would love you to stick around and subscribe. And until then, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.